and let us consider how to stir up one another to love and good works, not neglecting to meet together, as is the habit of some, but encouraging one another, and all the more as you see the day drawing near. Hey, it's Chris here. I am with Chris, and today we just kind of wanted to talk to you all a little bit about the importance of life groups, kind of what we get from them, and what they've meant to us. So Chris, I know that you've been involved with life groups for a while now. Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about your experience with life groups here at Mount Gilead Church of Christ.
That's a great question. So I've been involved in one life group so far. Well, actually two life groups. The first life group for a little over a year. That life group is now on its summer break. And I've just recently joined a summer life group at your house called the Fireside Life Group. We meet around the bonfire and talk. But yeah, I'm just very privileged. A little over a year of being in a life group. I'm a little bit ashamed to say I've waited until I was 45 years old to be involved in a church life group. But my life has changed as a result.
You mentioned that your life has changed because of your involvement in life groups. Kind of walk us through a little bit about that and kind of what you mean by that.
So I would say, first of all, I would describe myself as being a fairly introverted, fairly shy type of person, just depending on the situation. I would not have prayed in a group setting in the past. Before I joined a life group, I wouldn't have felt comfortable talking in front of a group about my spiritual journey, life experiences and things like that. I always felt a bit uncomfortable. When I joined the life group, that changed for me. I saw people, church family, meeting together, talking together, reading together, praying together, and something drew me out of my shell as a part of that. I felt comfortable reading aloud. I felt comfortable praying for the group. And I also felt comfortable talking about my experiences growing up in England, in the Church of England, my experiences here in different churches, here in America. I felt comfortable talking about my own life experiences since coming to America, the things that have changed, people that have passed away in my lifetime, how that has impacted me. And just the life group has given me a way to reflect on those things. It's really helped me put those things into perspective, and it's helped to kind of give me some framework, some guidance, some direction to grow with the church. So it's just really had a positive impact on me personally. And again, it's just in 1 year I've been brought out of my shell. I would just be somebody that comes into church and sits down and doesn't really talk to anybody. And I've now become somebody who feels led to serve. And not only has the life group helped me talk in a group setting about my faith, but it has ultimately led me to standing in front of the entire church and talking in front of the church and just giving some meditation and some thoughts and some comments while we do the communion at the church as well. So a year ago, if you had asked me, hey, could you imagine yourself standing up in front of the entire church and just talking to the church as if they're your family, I would say no way. No way. Like that's not something I do. I can't even pray at the dinner table, let alone praying in the entire church. So it's just been a remarkable transformation for me, and it's hard to put my finger on it. It's just something that had just gradually progressed as a part of being in that life group.
Chris, to get from your point A, your starting point, what you were kind of just discussing, to where you are now, what makes life groups significant? What kind of topics are covered? Why do you think that that's been a huge help in your journey?
I would say in the group setting, we would read some scripture together, and we would reflect on that as a group. Like we would read, and Clayton, who led our life group, he was good at giving us something of meaning for us to read, that may have been read at church, but we didn't really get into what does this really mean for me? Like, how do I make sense of that?
So like a real world scenario and how we live.
Yes. So in a group, it became, the life group is interactive at that point. We read a verse or two or three or four of the Bible, and then we interact, we share how, what is my interpretation of this? How does this impact my life? Or and hearing other people talking about what that means for them as well. So we've kind of moved around the different books of the Bible in a way that I'm still learning how and why we do that, but it kind of makes sense where we've talked about various different topics. We've talked about how people have come to know Jesus, turned away from the devil, loss, dealing with grief, loss, mental health issues, and just the different transformations in people's lives. So being able to read a passage of the Bible, talking about it as a group, and also like it's been an opportunity to kind of sit back and just hear other people's perspectives or testimony. Like, that impacts me in a certain way. This is how this shaped me, or this is how it impacted my life. Or when I was in college, this life event happened to me, and when I was reading the Bible, this is the passage that really helped me get through it. So just being able to relate to the Bible, so it's to answer your question, it's kind of like taking a Bible group setting, but then turning it into an interactive group. So we're not just digging into the Bible, but we're reflecting as a group. We're learning and growing as a group. I look forward to doing that. I didn't really have much enjoyment just sitting and reading a Bible and just asking myself, what does that really mean? Let me read it again, just find out what does that mean. And just in that group interactive setting, we were able to ask questions like, I'm really not sure what this does mean. What do you think it means? So I've learned so much from being in a life group, and I look forward to reading the Bible together and having that interactive discussion as well. And people come from different backgrounds as well, from different churches prior to our church. And they would feel comfortable saying, well, when we were in our church as a kid or as a teenager, then this is how we viewed that. Or this, our denomination, this is how we interpreted that. So it was just good to learn other people's perspectives and what the Bible means for them as well.
I know that in our life group, one of the things that we found, we had several, and I call them breakthrough moments, where a couple or a certain individual would say, hey, we've struggled with this, or I've struggled with this. And it almost gave freedom to the rest of the group to open up about their struggles with that same thing.
Yeah.
And that has happened several times over the past year. And it just really began to not only just allow people to freely talk, but it also developed a next level of relationship just within the group as well. Once we find out that we are not alone, and that there are other people that struggle with the same things, the same demons, the same past, the same presence that others. And I know that has really been a helpful situation.
Absolutely.
For all of us. Let's talk about the relationships that have been developed within just that small group setting. So we're talking about 10 folks that you can just really get to know on a week in and week out basis. How have those relationships grown even outside of that life group?
I would say from my perspective, my wife used to talk about church family when we go to church. I'm with my church family. I look forward to seeing my church family. And it took me a while for me to understand what she really meant by church family. But it wasn't until I was part of the life group that I understood that. For me, when throughout my entire life, I would come and go to church, but not really necessarily interact with people. I would I'm terrible with names. I don't remember people's names. So somebody could tell me their name is Jim every other week, and I would forget your name. And just, I think there was always something that kind of stopped me from really interacting with people, getting to know people. There's so many people to get to know at church as you're coming or going, or you only have a few minutes to kind of shuffle in, shuffle out, and sometimes it's like some people are trying to get to the coffee, some people are trying to get to the bathroom, and so on. But what I found in the life group, we have a small to medium group of people coming together where you can get to know each other. So you're the guy that I see coming from first service. I go to the second service. I haven't really spoken to you before, but now I'm getting to know you, your family, your wife, your background. I'm looking forward to learning more about you, and so the life group allows the group of people to really become church family. So as a part of the life group, I feel like I have church family. I have people that listen to me, that care about me, that care about what I have to say, which is so important. I didn't give myself that opportunity earlier in life. I didn't allow myself to make those relationships, and so now I feel like it's a gift. That the life group is something that has come to me later in life. Although I still think I'm young, but not old. I'm just really grateful. The relationships are